Alright, ready to rock and roll. Lesson 47 is over. Solving problems involving percentage of change. Okay, so when we get these answers, we need to consider whether it was a percentage increase or a percentage decrease. Okay, so there's a basic formula for this, and we'll develop it as we go. We'll also use ratios, meaning proportions, to solve some of these. So let's jump right into the examples. Example 1, A says, find the percentage change in the number of airports in 85, which were 15,161, and the number of airports in 2005, which is 19,854. So to find this percentage change, we will find the difference between the two. Okay, so we find the difference between the two over the original amount. So the original amount was the amount in 1985, which is the 15,161. Okay, so we find the difference over the original. Okay, so write down that formula. You can add it to your formula sheet. We want the difference over the original. Now, most of the time, we'll talk about the absolute value of the difference, so go ahead and add that into your formula. Okay, so absolute value of the difference over the original. So once I get these numbers, for the top, the absolute value of that is going to be 4,693, and on bottom, of course, that hasn't changed at all. Now, once we get this answer, which is going to be some kind of decimal, we are going to round it, because the question told us to round it, to the nearest hundredths place. So this is going to be approximately 0.31 when we do the division. I need to convert this to a percent, because this is not a percentage change, it's just the decimal equivalent. So to convert it to a percent, we're moving it to the right. Okay, so we need to go to the right 2 places. So this becomes 31%. And because I look at my numbers, I went from 15,000 to 19,000. Is that a percent increase or a decrease? Increase. It went up. So it's an increase in the number that we see. Okay, part B, it's the same concept on that one. It says the number of taxi cabs in the United States in 2001 is 31,800. Again, 31,800. And in 2002, it was 30,800. Again, I'm going to find the difference between the two. I'm going to divide it by the original. The original was in 2001, which was 31,800. Whoops, that's a 3. Okay, so I find the difference up top. The difference was 1,000. Okay, I'm talking about the absolute value of 1,000, which is still just 1,000. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and erase those. Divided by 31,800. Again, we get a decimal equivalent here, and then we have to convert it to a decimal. So it's going to be approximately, because I'm rounding to the hundredths place, 0.03. And when I convert this, it's going to go 1, 2 over, and my percent is 3%. Now, is this an increase or a decrease? Looking at my original to my next later date. Increase or decrease? It's a decrease. So it goes down, so I'm writing in decrease. Sorry, I ran out of room on my paper there. So it's a 3% decrease. In the book, you'll see a thing that looks like a negative percent, but we don't want to talk in negative percents. We just want to say decrease or increase, okay? You can look at them and just tell. All right, next example starts to go over marketing and discounts, and there's several ways to do this. So I'm going to show you the way that you've probably already learned, and then I'm going to show you a newer way to do it. It says a music store marks up, so we're percentage increase. Okay, mark up means we're going up in price. They purchase CDs at $9 each, and they mark them up by 70%. What is the markup and the new price? They're asking for 2 different answers, so I want the markup. I'm going to write that down. I just put the initials MU, and then the new price I'll write down at the bottom. Okay, so if my markup is 70%, I need to find out what 70% of $9 is. When I say of, I mean multiply. So 70% as a decimal is 0.7. Let me show you how to do that conversion. So 70% converted to a decimal. Think about the zeros right here. There are 2 zeros. Okay. If you don't remember that, you can just divide by 100. It's the same concept. Okay. 2 zeros, and I'm getting rid of 2 zeros. So less is left. Less is left. So I go 1, 2 to the left. And I multiply this by 0.7. Okay. So 9 times 0.7, because I'm finding 70% of 9, will give me my increase, my markup. So that is going to be $6.30. Okay, so 6.3. So my markup is $6.30. I've already answered one question. Next, it says, what is the new total price? So all I have to do is take my $6.30, add it to my 9. So my markup added to my original will get me my new total cost for the CD. And this is what stores do. They buy it at a certain amount, and then they sell it at a higher amount to make money. That's how they stay in business. So $15.30 is the answer. And I think all of you have seen either a discounted or markup problem before. Okay? So I'll show you a fast way to do this. If they pay $9, okay, and they're wanting to mark it up 70%, then I know I'm going to pay 100% of the original cost plus 70% of the new cost. So I'm going to pay 170% of what the store did. So if I convert 170%, less is left, 1, 2 to the left, I need 170% of 9. So I multiply it by 1.7. You type that in your calculator, you'll get it 1530 right away. Okay? It just saves you from having to find it and then add up. Okay? Alright, so there's a new way to look at it if you'd like to. And it works the same way when you're doing different problems. You just have to keep in mind what you're paying. Okay? So on B it says a bookstore is having a sale. So this is a markdown of 40% off. So we're taking away. What is the discount of a new price of a book that was originally $12? So it was originally $12. It's 40% off. So how much of it am I paying for? I'm paying for 60% of $12. So the quick and easy way to do this is take my $12, multiply it by my 60% that I'm actually paying for it, and that converts down to 0.6, and I'd get my new book price. My new book price being, I think, like $7.12, but let me double check. Yep, $7.20. Okay, so that's the quick way to do it. Just multiply what you're going to pay for it times the original cost. Okay, now here's the way that y'all guys have learned to do it, and of course most of you are comfortable this way, and you can continue doing it this way. So if I have $12 for the original cost, I need to find what 40% is. So I multiply it by the 40%. When I multiply this by 40%, I get $4.80. I take that amount, and I'm going to subtract it from my original. So I take $12, I subtract $4.80, and I get $7.20 for my new cost. Okay? The only difference between these two is this is a one-step problem, this is a two-step problem. Okay? So you can do whichever method you want. So here's the find it and subtract, here's the all-in-one. Whichever method you want. Questions on either of those methods? Okay. Example 3 then. So, this is an application in raising funds in 2006. The 100-mile Beads Walkathon for Education, Advanced Development, and Success raised $36,000 for girls in Africa. The organizers hope to raise $100,000 in 2007. So from 2006 to 2007, they want to increase the amount. What will the percent of increase be in the amount of funds? So I need to use that original equation here that I have. I need the difference over the original. So the difference of 100,000 and 36,000 divided by the original amount that they earned, which was 36,000. And I'll take the absolute value of it and find my answer. Okay, so up top, when I subtract 100,000 from 36,000, I get 64,123,000 over 36,000. do that division, and I get, what'd you say? We do this one step at a time. So 64,000, we take 64,000, 3 divided by our 36,000, we get 1.7 repeating, right? So we're going to round again that to the hundredths place, so it's 1.78, okay? So 1.78. Then to convert that to a decimal, we move our decimal place 2 times, or we multiply it by 100, however you feel comfortable. So 1.78 converted to a percent goes to the right, so it's 178% increase. So, questions, comments? Okay. Last example then. In 2002 Winter Olympics, a U.S. athlete received a total of 34 medals. Woohoo, America. All right. Next, in the 2006 Winter Olympics, U.S. athletes received 25 medals. Boo. What is the percent of decrease? We're looking at percent decrease from those 2 Olympics. So, we're going from 34 medals down to 25 medals. We're going to find the difference between them and divide it by the original. The original was 34. Okay, we started out at 34, went down to 25. Now, find the difference between 34 and 25, the absolute value of that. We get 9. 9 divided by 34. I'm going to do that in the calculator. 9 divided by 34. 2647. We'll round it to the hundredths place again. So I'm rounding it to the 6. Since that's a 4, I'm just going to round down. So it's approximately 0.26. I expect to see these when you're rounding. Okay, those are approximate symbols. So I need to convert this to a percent. I convert it by moving 2 decimal places to the right. I get 26% as my decrease. So percent decrease. So we went down a lot. Questions?